Hello again and welcome to DanWhiteBooks. Let me ask you, what is the cost of playing God? Is there a limit to human endeavour where the end goal is always just more? How far is too far? Would you genetically engineer an animal, a plant, maybe even a person? And if so, where should that line in the sand be drawn? The outcome might be a cure for all illness, but the reality is something much bleaker. Join me today as I review Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood. Published in 2003 by Margaret Atwood, Oryx and Crake tells of a future dominated by genetic engineering, murky moral boundaries, and all-powerful corporations. It is a disturbing look into a future where man attempts to replace Mother Nature, shaping life as though painting a canvas. Much like The Handmaid's Tale, the world you're enveloped in is not only scarily dark, but eerily familiar. The narrative of this work is told through the eyes of a character called Snowman, a man left adrift in a world that is nearly ended. He's a damaged individual whose story becomes clear as he relives his past memories. While the world Snowman currently lives in resembles an overgrown garden, a corrupted paradise long lost, the prior state of this world is revealed. In spite of man's mastery of genetics, it was a cold place, marked by class division and the breakdown of our modern morality. Entertainment, sometimes brutal, litters the internet. It's the kind that would lead to arrest in our time, but in this world, it is often scoffed at. Snowman reflects back to his youth before the mysterious catastrophe that has devastated the planet. A thread of scientific hubris runs throughout this book, and no doubt draws some inspiration from Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park. Both tell a cautionary tale where our desire to create blinds us to the potential inability to control it. As you read, you know the world has come to a tragic end, yet you don't know why. Snowman is with a group of people called the Crakers, and they appear very different to you and me. Snowman tends to them as if he is their messiah, but why? The world of 2003, our world, was very different to how it is now, yet like any great dystopian book, relevance lingers. While the fear of today is often written in the form of AI, the horror of yesterday focused elsewhere. As the world entered the 21st century, it was clear that science was becoming the dominant voice. It was a time where scientific progress felt unstoppable and increasingly unchecked. It is this very relentless, unbridled power that allows us to draw immediate comparisons to the fears surrounding AI today, and also to the ethical questions that envelop man and progress. When Snowman was a boy, he lived within the confines of a massive corporation. Genetic engineering had already begun to produce results. Animals were spliced and engineered together to create new species, including pagoons, pigs engineered to grow human organs, warvogs, vicious wolf-dog hybrids that lure you in by playing innocent, and rakunks, raccoons bred with skunks. In essence, science has dramatically altered the biological world, fundamentally changing the definition of nature itself. Would you be okay with such change? Picture a hospital where a perfectly matching organ is found from a genetically engineered animal. You live on, but at what point are you willing to draw the line? And did you know this fiction is becoming far more a reality than you might think? In my research for this book, I was staggered to learn scientists are already transplanting genetically modified pig hearts into human patients. Sure, it's not being done on a mass scale, but the early steps are there. Pigs are having their genomes edited so that their organs will be more compatible with humans, and thus we have a fiction fast approaching reality. This book forces us to draw many lines in the sand, or at least question exactly where that line should fall. You may be willing to accept the transplanted organ from another animal, but would you alter your unborn child's genetics so they could get ahead? Would you remove genes for depression, for anxiety, or would you go further still and remove the very flaws that make us human? Would you dare to create something else entirely? As Snowman goes through adolescence and into adulthood, he is a somewhat drifting, meandering character, a witness to the madness around him. But he was not alone. Snowman grew up with a boy called Crake, his only constant in this strange world. It's clear that Crake is special. He possesses an intelligence few can match. As the years pass by, the world further changes. There are now procedures for everything, some functional, some not. The entire landscape is a relentless billboard, and it is often corporate marketing that rules the day. Something doesn't have to work, it just has to sell. But mankind is pushing forward, even if it's fracturing. There is division among people. There are those safe inside the mass corporations and those dying outside. There are riots. There is much injustice. There are dark conspiracies about what's really happening behind the scenes. Can the corporations be trusted? With every disease cured, would they make another just for profit? As Snowman and Crake age, they fall out of contact. Crake is a man defined as a genius, and as such, top corporations want him. But Crake is almost too logical. To him, everything needs a definition, and if one is not to be found, it has no real need to exist. At the end of this book, a mighty boulder smashes into you. This is an ending done right, and the shock really hits home. Snowman in his later life is a fumbling, broken man, trying his best to make sense of life, devoid of everything he grew up with. He is left alone, all-knowing, but completely devoid of power, a god cursed with the realities of truth and a promise he cannot let go. In Oryx and Crake, the cost of playing God, of creating species like tending to food in an oven, is to use heat without water. As man creates, safeguarding is shoehorned, ignored. This oven of creation begins to melt, it begins to burn, smouldering metal drips and ignites everything around, and suddenly smoke envelops our curious aspirations as we fade away, without time to think, without time to stop. When reading this work, much like other dystopian pieces, you are given a warning, an extreme scenario of the worst that may come. It is presented in a time where action matters. Yes, science is a modern miracle, but remember to ask yourself, how far is too far? My friends, thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.